Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? And yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows. And surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever and ever. Amen. Assalamu alaikum. Ramadan Kareem to all our Muslim brothers and sisters, and may Allah accept the final days of our fast. Welcome to Johnny's Bites. Good morning. Yesterday, I was heartbroken and I was shaking, and I started thinking and asking myself whether, as a country, we really are committed to the entrepreneurial drive that has been drummed home over and over again. I'm sure you do know that shops were destroyed around the Opera Square, the shopping center. We're talking about structural defects. We're talking about the fact that the place was congested and all of that. Well, that's a key question this morning. The simple question we're asking is that no matter what the situation was, what made it too difficult for the Ghana National Fire Service to be able to douse the fire? The Accra Metropolitan Assembly and I always say, my mom worked with the Accra Metropolitan Assembly for more than 30 years. Almost 40 years, I should say. Now, the narrative then and the narrative now has not changed. Fire is burning somebody's property. Fire is burning and ruining somebody's infrastructure. Fire is burning and ruining somebody's investment. And we don't have not the requisite capacity because our officers are well trained, but they do not have equipment. And you see, when the politicians say, and they put that Uncle Atu song under it, or maybe if you know, when the politicians say, we are retooling you, we have retooled them, we have given them this and that and that and that, they know that it is woefully inadequate, but they keep quiet. They are part of the problem. When the matter comes up and we want to lay blame, they say we should not lay blame. There's an Accra Metropolitan Assembly that's supposed to be ensuring that congestion around those places is not happening. We are told Operation Cement Your Lungu, Operation Clean Your Frontage, and all the initiatives, red line policy, whatever it is. We are told about all of those ones. Yet those same people who say we are putting these measures in place, they go there to go and collect tolls from them. You go and collect their money. You are endorsing illegality, perpetrating the same illegality. When issues come and want to lay blame, then you say you are not blamable. So who should we blame? Who should we blame? Your uniform? Or your car ties? Who should we blame? We will blame you. We will ask you questions. And you will have to explain to us why it is happening and it is happening repeatedly. Why? What is our crime? And when we talk about it, some people try to make it look as if we don't know what we are talking about. Well, all the market woman knows, or what the woman who used to sell at Opera now, all her goods are burnt. What they know is that they had a job going for them, and until the fire came, they had something going for them. They were trying to make ends meet. Now the fire has come, the world has come to an end. Imagine if it's your mother or auntie or sister or wife who has gone to take a loan from a bank. A facility from a bank. Imagine it. Sometimes we are too quick to defend everything. Sometimes we are too quick to explain everything. But this is the reality of people. And just yesterday I was telling Cookie, if I had money as a Ghanaian and I had huge money and you asked me to invest in Ghana, I'll think twice. Because when your investment starts going down the drain, everybody watches. Look at Dr. Papa Kwesi Ndum. Created jobs for everybody. A conglomerate set up banks, spread more than any bank ever in this country. We united in our minds to run down his business. That's how we are. We are special. And you know where it starts from? It starts from the grassroots. Danny, bring me the national service, NASPA, the letter. Pull it up for me. You are with the national service. Now, this is it. It says that on the... bring the letter back. Now, all regional directors, National Service Scheme, and this is from the National Service Personnel Association. It says, all regional directors, National Service Scheme, dear sir, madam, opening of nominations. The National Executive Committee affectionately extends its warm greetings and would respectfully inform all regional executives of the opening of nominations from the 2022 National NASPA elections. The prizes for the respective positions are listed below. President, 1,500. Other positions, 1,200. All aspirants are to call blah, 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 blah. Their ending nominations were yesterday to Wednesday, 27th April, and then filing of nominations Saturday, 30th April, 2022. Okay, signed by a certain Emmanuel Bimpon Akosa, National President. I don't know if it's plural. He himself is a plural person. Emmanuel Bimpon Akosa, National President. Now, Emmanuel Bimpon Akosa is there. Lawrence S.K. Nyalegbe is there. Secretary Prince Abada is Financial Secretary. Joseph Kusi Mafo, Organizing Secretary. Mami Amadadzi, Women's Commissioner. And Nana Akufo, Coordinating Secretary. Now, all of these people are there. Young, gifted, black, and proud. You know that as national service personnel, your people have not been paid. They are 559 pittance. 559 Ghana cedis pittance. That allowance is in arrears. You are asking people to come and pay 1,500 cedis and 1,200 cedis. If I earn or if I get an allowance of 559 Ghana cedis, I will have to cough out my rent from it. I'll have to cough out my transport from it. I'll have to cough out my clothing from it. I'll have to cough out my feeding from it. I'll have to cough out my recreation from it. Cough out my pastor's tax tithe from it. Cough out all those things. So clearly 559 is not sustainable to start with. And then you ask me within this short while, the letter was written on the 24th, you open nominations on the 25th, and by the 30th, you expect me to come and file my nomination, and if I'm vying for president, I should be able to pay you 1,500 cedis. Are we all right? So now it is not about who is qualified to lead the association. It is about who has money and can afford it. Now, where do they get the money from? That's where the godfather and the godmother situation comes in. That's where people start corrupting them. Because if I sponsor you, what am I sponsoring you for? If I sponsor you, I'm sponsoring you towards a certain end so that I can have a certain kind of control. That's what's happening to our nooks. That's what's happening to our gaps. That's what's happening to all the SRCs. Go there and find out. So we are no longer creating leaders who are passionate, who want to lead necessarily. We are creating leaders who will be a certain appendage and tied to the apron strings of the lead. And that is what we are seeing at the very top, NDC MPP. People are fighting today to become local executives of the MPP, not because necessarily they love the party, because there's something at the top they are aiming for. People are fighting to become assemblymen today, not because they want to serve the country, because there's something they're aiming for. And they use that assemblyman Kakra, then they go to unit committee Kakra, then they go and fight to become DC Kakra, and then the next thing you know, they are MPs, and then the next thing you know, they are ministers, and then they keep climbing up. That's the plan. So whenever you see students who are interested in student politics or student activism, they have a certain plan laid out for them, that there's a godfather or a godmother at the back. But I'm saying that must we as a country, where we are now, now look at the team Dr. Kwame Nkrumah had. Kobedu was in his government. What was Kobedu's educational background? What was his capacity? But the man was committed. He was committed to working for Ghana. What was the size of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah's cabinet, for example? What was it? Can you compare what Dr. Nkrumah, even as a young country with that small number of ministers, what they achieved? Compare it to Dr. Buzia, compare it to President Akufo-Addo's father, compare it to Dr. Hila Liman, compare it to President Rollins, compare it to President Kufuor, compare it to President Mills, compare it to President Mahama, compare it to President Akufo-Addo. Nobody is a match. None of them. Yet all of them had huge numbers of ministers, huge numbers of appointees. And that's one of our biggest bane. And this is where it starts from. They are not looking for who is qualified, though. So if I am interested in becoming NASPA president, and I cannot afford 1,500 cedis, and I can also not afford to be able to give electorates money to be able to influence them to vote for me, I would automatically lose my chance to lead, and all the ideas and all the genuine mind I had is gone with my thinking because I could not commodify it. I could not commoditize it. And this is the thinking of our young people who are yet to get into the labor force. And I'm not faulting the president alone. All his executives, they are part because they all sat for it. Now, the question is this. When you join national service, there's a certain deduction that is made from your allowance. It goes to NASPA. There's a certain deduction that is made from your allowance and it goes to NASPA. When that money gets to them, what do they do with it? Because the last administration, you have issues of corruption hanging over your head where you organize a conference or whatever it is, you brought a budget, inflated and all of that. All those issues are outstanding. I didn't want to talk about it, but I would have wished that as a responsible institution like NASPA, you would have rather been interested in fighting for the pittance of 559 Ghana cedis in this very harsh economy, beyond the excuse of Russia, Ukraine, and COVID and whatever it is. You would have fought for them to be giving their monies up till now. You are not fighting for it. The first thing that comes to mind is that people should come and pay you 1,500 cedis. 1,500 cedis to be president, 1,200 cedis for other positions. So the person who earns 559 Ghana cedis struggles if he doesn't have a godfather or godmother, or he doesn't have a certain sponsor who will come and exact a certain pound of flesh later. He struggles to try and marshal that money, and he brings it up. And that person gets into office. The first thought that the person will have is how to recuperate that money, how to get that money back. And this is how we are training our young people, and everybody is watching. Everybody's watching. National Youth Authority is watching. Ministry of Youth and Sports is watching. All the people who are supposed to be sharpening and honing the young people, everybody is watching. They are chopping posts. National Youth Authority is watching. National Ministry of Youth and Sports is watching. Everybody is watching. So when they turn out to be what they are not supposed to be, then we start crying. Because clearly, these people who are doing their national service now, once they're done with national service, we have been told that the payroll is choked. And that brings me to my next issue. Put up Dr. Emmanuel Akwete of IDEC's script, or we'll end with that one. He says the youth have lost hope. And I put that Uncle Atu inspirational patriotic song behind it, because it says the youth have lost confidence in the system. Government must give them hope. They have lost confidence in the system. Government must give them hope. That's Dr. Emmanuel Akwete of IDEC. It says the youth of Ghana have lost confidence in the current system due to the lack of sustainable jobs. Executive Director of the Institute of Democratic Governance, IDEC, Dr. Emmanuel Akwete, has said, in his view, the system is not responding to their needs, especially when it comes to job creation. Speaking in an interview with TV3, Dr. Akwete said the youth has lost or have lost confidence. And this is not the youth of many years in the 50s and 60s. And the point he's making is that the system is not responding to their needs. Well, Doc, you are not far from the truth. But he also references the directive principles of state policy. It's there. Read it. It says, Chapter 6 of the 1992 Constitution, the directive principle of state policy clearly lays out the economies, social, cultural, education, job, local government. If you compare to how we have delivered the civil and political liberties, you see clearly that we haven't done well in delivering the development objectives of democracy or dividends, and the youth are feeling it. No jobs, no hopes. You don't see what is being done to alleviate that. Beautiful. So the man who is in charge of the civil society organization that's supposed to be looking at democratic development is the one speaking. He has lived in this country before as a young person. He knows what it feels like to be a young person, and he has seen it. He's talking about it. And he says that the youth now have no confidence, that they must be giving hope. How do we begin giving them hope? Is it by launching one scheme after the other? But is it by sloganeering? Because if I'm a young person this morning, and already my NASPA association is taking from me 1,500 cedis because I want to come and lead the association, because I believe I have a certain vision and mission, and I want to take the association to a different level where it doesn't become the mundane, you're done with your degree or diploma or HND, and then you sign on to the national service scheme, and then you are given a certain e-switch card, and then you go to the office every day, and then at the end of the month you are giving your allowance, and that is it. Maybe you get a t-shirt of, and that's all we do. If you ask NASPA how they prepare the graduates or people who are national service personnel, how they prepare them for the job market to be able to give them employable skills, because everything cannot be acquired in the classroom. Not many people are also very present and punctual at their various service points. But if you ask them, what dues are paid to them, and how they use that to improve the lives of the people, give them employable skills, you'll be wondering what answers they will get you. So, if you doubt it as a leader in this country, I have always said this: disguise yourself. Sit in a trotro, sit in a taxi of your choice, sit in a train, those that are functional, and just start a conversation about people not having confidence and people losing hope. Just start it. You will feel the feedback. It will hit you. And you see, most of our leaders don't go to the lower levels. They don't. This morning, they will be having breakfast perhaps at Movenpick or Labadi Beach. In the afternoon, they will go to another place. In the evening, they will go and eat at home. So the Yorkagari joints that the average national service person joins, that the average youth, that the average NAPCO person who has not received their stipends, that they go through, they don't go through. They don't know what it feels like. Their children don't know what it feels like. You get it? This morning, some people are in a trotro queue at Circle, at Alogboshi, wherever it is. They are waiting to get on a trotro, to get to work. The big man does not join those trotro queues. Perhaps they need to engage the NIB and the national security more effectively to go down and to find out the real situation on the ground. There's pent-up anger. The young people have pent-up anger. And when you speak to them, those who come asking for 20 cedis and 50 cedis and 30 cedis to be able to live through the day or maybe 2 days, they have pent-up anger. And not because they are not willing to work. They are willing to work, but the jobs are not there. Now, if I'm a young person and I have, say, 4,000, 5,000, and I get a small corner at Opera Square, and I set up a small polybag shop, and that polybag shop is burnt down, not because it is my fault, and the fire service couldn't douse the fire, and I'm asking questions. Somebody is asking us why we are asking those questions. How are we encouraging our young people? How are we winning back their confidence? How are we putting back hope into them? That's the question I want you as a duty bearer. As you go to work this morning, you've taken your breakfast, you've taken your bath. As you go to work, that is what I want you to think about. I want you to think about that. Think about it effectively. What kind of future are you living for the young people? The kind of future that Dr. Nkrumah, Dr. Buzia, and the rest left for you, what kind of future are you living for them? What kind of legacy are you leaving for them? That's all I want you to think about this morning. Good morning.